Okay, my name is Winsome and I'm a multimedia visual artist mainly, and I market my work in many different ways throughout the United States and around the world, my artwork, and I do a lot of marketing through doing magazine covers with my artwork and cards, and I also have a line of textiles. So I market right across the universe.
What kind of magazines would
Things like the Canadian Women's Journal and different magazine. I just finished a book cover for, I can't remember the name of the publishers in the States, so I market across different places.
can you tell me about the Winsome Pollard Show?
The Winsome Pollard Show, which is at the Kashiba Gallery, which is owned by Wavenly Job, and it's a wonderful gallery. It's very new and it's dealing mainly with Black contemporary artists and African art from outside, from the motherland, and she incorporates contemporary Black artists with the African pieces, and the show is called The Spirit Keepers, and it's basically art around spirituality, things that are coming from us and dealing with our life. At least with my work, it's dealing with my life. Let me say about you.
Can you see?
Okay, I didn't know which piece was behind me. Actually, are you rolling?
Yeah.
Actually, the piece behind me is called this in English, The Spirit Keepers, because all my work I actually give Swahili names or African names to my pieces, but translated it means, since it's for an English audience, this piece is called The Spirit Keepers, and it's basically the doll from the fertility doll from Ghana, and the whole work came through a dream, just what I should do, and it was just the actual doll that was being painted at first by me, and then the snakes came in with all the writing on it, and just the pieces that, you know, the writing, it's all I can't think, it just came. It just came.
The Woman I Am.
The Woman I Am was just a play piece. I was actually playing around with The Woman I Am. I had paint left on, it's an oil piece, and I had paint left on my palette and I just wanted to use it up, so I was just playing around with that piece. So that's a very fun piece that I did. And the piece up top, which with the figures dancing, is dealing with celebration. One of the things I tend to do is always celebrate each little point that I get in my life. I think we don't, as Black people, we don't celebrate enough. We've allowed the wider community to say all we do is party or stuff. I'm not talking partying, I'm talking celebrating. I always celebrate each mark that I move on. If something terrible has happened to me, and when I've overcome that, I tend to find some joy in it. It's like taking, you know, you give them lemons and you make lemonade with it, and that's what I try to do. So I have a number of art pieces that are a celebrator's type, because I believe we should, and celebration is right within me, and it's one of the things that keep me going as a person in this culture.
The baby picture? Can you tell me the name of it too in your question?
Okay, the piece very far over there, which has a baby in the center with a snake as the umbilical cord. It's called in English The Spirit Keepers, and you'll notice that it has 7 snakes and coming out of 7 pyramids around it. That's another dreamt piece, and first I just dreamt the snake, the pyramid shapes with the snake coming out. Actually, I dreamt the pyramid shapes first and the circle of light coming forward and very dark area, and that was a very powerful dream when I did it. And then from that, another night I dreamt that it was actually snakes coming out, and they're the 7 spirits that are keeping me going and is protecting me and looking after me. That was the feeling I get. It doesn't come in such words, but the feeling from the dream is what I got. And that piece was painted for almost 2 years and was just left like that. And one night I went to bed and I felt the piece wasn't finished, but nothing was happening, and so I just left it. And I got up in the morning, and the dream of a baby coming from And the dream of a baby coming from the center with the umbilical cord turning into a snake, which is the protective, the guide, the thing that feeds you and everything. And the name Spirit Keepers was with it. And that piece. That piece is called the internalized racism. It's a piece, if you notice, two beautiful women on either side, and it's all the things that happen, and a lot of distorted things in the middle, and an African drum which is kind of like a mortar and everything in one. It's basically how everything that happens to us as black people, we internalize it, it goes around inside of you and it becomes really messed up, and it's like how we internalize racism, and that's what happened to a lot of us. Inside we're not happy with ourselves because of all the outside things, and therefore it makes us be very angry and ugly, but actually we're really beautiful people. I am a beautiful person.
That's great. That was wonderful.
And that's the end of my life. And this piece down here is called The Mirror of Dearth, and it's a textile piece. And one of the first things when I came to Canada, where I came from, actually, I did a lot of mural painting and paintings. And when I came here, everybody was a painter, and so I wanted something that linked me back to my culture. And textile is one of the things that we do a lot of. And so I, on my own, learned about dyeing and the African traditional way of dyeing, and just remembering the way I saw old people in my country dyeing. And so I started to become a textile dyer. And then it was not accepted as an art form here, and I was determined that we shouldn't separate craft and art the way they do. And so I started doing a lot of dyeing. This particular piece, The Mirror of Dearth, is the whole story of Brother Anansi, who is a trickster in our culture, the African culture, and can change from anything he wants to be. And in this particular piece, the world is falling apart around him. It's dark, it's dreary, and everything is going really bad for him, and no food, and he's starving. But because of his spiritual belief, the fish represent that, and the fish is life in my belief. And from the fish, he became, and his spiritual beliefs, the fish came to him and helped him to survive, and because of that he survived. And it's a very long story, but that particular piece was just depicting that section of it. So Lloyd Pollard.
Oh, is it? Okay. Okay. I
So
see.
different.
Okay. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Lloyd is quite distinct. Okay. Okay. So the spire piece was The Mirror of Dearth.
Mirror of Dearth. Yeah, he's trying to remember the names.
Okay. Well, just one last question. What do you want people in general to get? Okay. Who would you like to be seeing your artwork, and what do you want people to get from it?
Okay. Rolling?
Yeah.
From my artwork, I would like people to feel whatever is coming from it. I've done shows like the shows where people have come and they just keep coming back to find out what it means to them. I've been told that I did a show once and this woman just kept coming back and sitting in front of the altarpiece that I'd created and was just crying and praying, and I don't know where it affected her, but for me that's what I want to happen. When people look at it, it changes something in their life, something within themselves, whether it makes them acknowledge that there is somebody much greater than them, the Great Spirit. People call them God, Allah, whatever, but I want them to acknowledge that this Great Spirit is there who leads and guides us, and acknowledge our ancestors, where it doesn't matter if you're white, black, or whatever, Asian. It's that we all have ancestors and we're all connected. We're all part of the Great Spirit, and therefore we're interrelated. So we should acknowledge and accept each other. And if I hurt somebody from somebody else, then I'm hurting myself because I'm part of that person. And so when I do my artwork, that's some of the things I think about. It's not just painting for the sake of painting. It's trying to make links with all race and people, because I think in the next century you're going to find everybody's acknowledging that we are related, and that through that process we're going to overcome a lot of stuff. Da 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 da.
Cool.